In August 1945, the Japanese city of Hiroshima faced a punishment unlike any in history when the United States dropped the first atomic bomb on a populated city. Hiroshima, a major military and industrial center during World War II, became the target not only for its strategic value, but also as a means to force Japan into surrender and end the war swiftly. The devastation was immediate and catastrophic. The bomb, nicknamed Little Boy, detonated over the city on August 6th, creating a blast equivalent to approximately 15 kilotons of TNT. Tens of thousands of people were killed instantly, including civilians, soldiers, and forced laborers. Buildings, bridges, and infrastructure were obliterated within a radius of several kilometers. Those who survived the initial explosion faced horrific injuries and radiation sickness, which claimed many more lives in the following weeks and months. Entire neighborhoods were erased, leaving the cityscape unrecognizable. The bombing served both military and psychological purposes. Militarily, it destroyed Japan's capacity to continue the war by eliminating industrial centers and disrupting communication and supply networks. Psychologically, it demonstrated the overwhelming destructive power of the United States, aiming to compel surrender and prevent further resistance. The punishment inflicted on Hiroshima was unprecedented, combining instant mass death with long-term suffering from radiation exposure. The atomic bombing of Hiroshima illustrates how modern warfare allowed empires and states to punish entire cities in a single devastating strike. The destruction extended beyond infrastructure and population. It caused lasting environmental, social, and health impacts. Hiroshima remains a symbol of the extreme consequences of collective punishment in the nuclear age, showing that entire cities could be obliterated in moments, forever altering history and human consciousness. During the Greek War of Independence, the island of Chios experienced one of the most infamous acts of collective punishment in modern European history. Chios, a prosperous island in the Aegean Sea, had a population heavily involved in trade and known for its wealth. When the Greek Revolution against the Ottoman Empire spread in 1822, a small rebellion broke out on Chios. The Ottomans responded with a level of brutality that would leave a lasting scar on the island and the consciousness of Europe. Ottoman forces landed on the island and carried out a systematic massacre. Historical accounts estimate that tens of thousands of men, women, and children were killed within weeks. Survivors were enslaved and sent to various parts of the empire, while homes, churches, and entire villages were destroyed. The city and countryside were deliberately left in ruins to prevent the island from supporting future revolts. Contemporary reports and European observers were horrified, and the atrocity became widely publicized, inspiring outrage and sympathy for the Greek cause across Europe. The destruction of Chios served both strategic and psychological purposes. It was meant to punish a rebellious population and deter other Greek islands and regions from resisting Ottoman authority. The sheer scale of the massacre and the widespread devastation of property transformed Chios from a thriving economic hub into a ghostly landscape for decades. This event illustrates the extreme measures empires used to enforce control and suppress rebellion. By targeting civilians, destroying infrastructure, and forcibly depopulating the city, the Ottomans demonstrated that resistance could lead to almost total annihilation. The tragedy of Chios remains a stark reminder of how an entire city could be punished as part of imperial strategy, leaving long-lasting social, cultural, and demographic consequences. During the Spanish conquest of the Aztec Empire, the city of Cholula suffered one of the most shocking collective punishments in Mesoamerican history. Cholula was a sacred city with numerous temples, including one of the largest pyramids in the region, and it played a central role in Aztec religion and politics. When Hernán Cortés and his forces arrived in 1519, they were met with what appeared to be a welcoming delegation. However, Cortés suspected a planned ambush against his smaller army and decided to punish the city preemptively. The Spanish carried out a massacre that is remembered as the Cholula Massacre. Thousands of inhabitants, men, women, and children, were killed over the course of a single day. Spanish accounts describe entire neighborhoods set ablaze and the pyramid and city temples desecrated or destroyed. The brutality was intended to terrorize surrounding cities and ensure that other towns would think twice before resisting Spanish authority. The psychological impact of this punishment was immense. News of the massacre spread quickly across central Mexico, serving as a warning to other indigenous cities about the consequences of opposing the conquistadors. Survivors of Cholula were often enslaved or absorbed into Spanish-controlled areas, and the city's political and religious influence was effectively dismantled. The destruction of Cholula demonstrates how empires and conquering forces could use extreme violence as a strategic tool. By punishing an entire city, Cortés not only neutralized a potential threat, but also established dominance across the region through fear. The massacre remains one of the most infamous examples of collective punishment in history, illustrating how a single city could be almost entirely eradicated to serve as a warning to others. In 1240, the thriving medieval city of Kiev, the heart of the Kievan Rus, faced a punishment so severe that it changed the course of Eastern European history. At the time, Kiev was a major political, economic, and cultural center, with a population engaged in trade, crafts, and governance. Its strategic location made it a key target for the expanding Mongol Empire under the command of Batu Khan, a grandson of Genghis Khan. The Mongols laid siege to Kiev with overwhelming force. Historical accounts describe a meticulously planned assault where the city's walls were breached and neighborhoods systematically destroyed. The invading army massacred tens of thousands of inhabitants, including civilians, defenders, and even prominent leaders. Buildings, churches, and fortifications were burned or demolished, leaving much of the city in smoldering ruins. Survivors were either executed, enslaved, or forced to flee, leaving the urban population decimated. The destruction of Kiev served both practical and psychological purposes. Militarily, it eliminated a major center of resistance and secured Mongol dominance over the region. Psychologically, it sent a stark warning to other cities within the Kievan Rus territories. Defiance against the Mongols would result in complete annihilation. Trade networks, cultural life, and political structures were obliterated, and the city would not regain its former prominence for many decades. The fall of Kiev illustrates how empires like the Mongols combined strategic military action with terror to enforce submission. The city's annihilation demonstrates the extreme measures rulers could take to punish an entire urban population, leaving devastation that reshaped the region's social, economic, and political landscape for generations.